Robert Plank Show, episode 298, The Leadership Gap. Unleash your greatness and potential by rethinking the system with Lolly Daskal. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. Our guest today is Lolly Daskal, and she's the founder of Lead From Within, which is a global leadership and consulting firm based in New York City. With more than 30 years of experience in her field, Lolly is one of the most sought-after executive leadership coaches and leadership consultants worldwide. Her extensive cross-cultural expertise spans several continents. Lots of cool stuff. Hi, Lolly. How are things today?
I am so happy to be here, Robert.
Awesome. I'm super happy that you are here. And so, what are we talking about today? What is it that you do and what makes you special?
So what makes me special is that I've been in my business for over 3 decades. And in my business, I am a coach, a leadership coach, and a business consultant. And my company is based on the fact that within all of us, first of all, the company is called Lead From Within. And within all of us, I believe that we have greatness. And my job is to unleash that greatness for every single client that I work with.
Awesome. And then so when you say like to unleash greatness, does that mean that there are a lot of us out there who maybe we're not living up to our full potential out there?
So what I have found with working with thousands and thousands of people all over the world is that within each person, there is a potential. There is greatness that we can unleash. But I also found this, that for every person that I believe that there's greatness within them, they have gaps. And these gaps keep them from greatness. And so sometimes people will say things to me, Lolly, I'm stuck. Lolly, I'm not where I want to be. Lolly, what got me here won't get me there. And when that happens, I come in and highlight the difference between, I have this system called the Rethink system that gives you 7 archetypes that will lead you to greatness. And within those 7 archetypes, there's a polarity that keep you stuck, that keep you playing small, and keep you in a gap.
Awesome. And so I think that I can totally relate to that a certain way of thinking got us to maybe like a plateau or a milestone, but we can't just keep going that way. Sometimes we have to switch gears. So, what are these 7 archetypes? When someone comes to you and you say, well, like, let's find the gaps, what are those 7 that you're looking at?
So I don't know how much, we don't have that much time. So I'll just take 1 or 2 so people can understand how the system works. Let's take the first archetype in the Rethink model. Rethink is an acronym for the 7 archetypes so you can remember them. So the first one is a rebel. A rebel is someone who wants to do something out in the world that is magnificent. They want to make a difference. They want to be the change, right? They're like, I want to change the status quo. But in order to do that, Robert, they have to have the characteristic of having confidence. You need confidence in order to change the world. You need confidence in order to make a difference. But for every single person that really wants to be a rebel, there is a gap. And the gap is that sometimes we feel like the imposter who has self-doubt. And how that sounds like is like someone says, you can go out and do greatness. I see I can unleash greatness in you. And then they say, well, Lolly, sometimes I feel like an imposter. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I can't really do this. And they start to have self-doubt. And if we don't learn to leverage this self-doubt, guess what, Robert, happens? It can cost us in the greatness that we are meant to have and meant to be.
Well, we don't want that for sure, but I can definitely relate to that. And it almost feels like, at least for me, it feels like early on I had maybe too much confidence, and that kind of got me, gave me some of that initial like burst of energy or whatever you want to call it. But then after a while, after I kind of like saw enough of the same things over and over, and I had some of my own ups and downs, then I kind of started feeling like that loss of confidence, and it almost felt like I started out with a lot of confidence, but then the more I knew about my industry and stuff like that, then the less confidence I had. So is that sort of this sort of thing you're seeing with this imposter syndrome?
Oh, that's actually very interesting about what you talk about. In my new book, The Leadership Gap, What Gets Between You and Your Greatness, I talk about the effects of too much self-confidence. So you're definitely mentioned in the book. But for most people, they believe in themselves, right? I think that confidence is believing in yourself. But I think the true rebel is about having competence, because competence is knowing that you're able to do the things you need to do. So most of the people that have tremendous amount of confidence, that's only part of what unleashes the greatness. What really unleashes the greatness is your capabilities plus your competence equal confidence. So when you have too much confidence, what I always say to my clients, tap into your competence, find out what skills you're really good at and concentrate on that, because that will give you almost like that gentle warrior of someone who's a master, because you're coming from skills and not from ego. Does that make sense of what there's a big distinction?
Yeah, I think so. So if I'm hearing you right, it's maybe a sort of situation where if all these people say, like everyone says like I'm an author or I'm a speaker or I'm a business coach, and they're trying to like reconcile that there's this huge just all these people that they're competing against, but if they can hone in on one skill that they're really really good at, then maybe they can then be like higher up the ladder in terms of that really focused niche, and then that way they'll kind of have the confidence to say, well, I'm better than most people in this small area, and now I'm not kind of comparing myself to the whole world. Is that sort of on the right track?
Brilliant, 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 Robert. What I feel is that you're different than I am different than you are, we're different from others, and that's an aspect of how we can really work with the imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome comes from always looking over your shoulder and thinking, okay, I need to be like this one and I need to be like that one. And the truth is, you need to be like no one but yourself. And so, in order to really work with the imposter syndrome and the self doubt that you might have, tap into who you are and what's great about you, what's unique about you. What's unique about me is, besides this rethink system, is that my whole coaching is based on heart-based leadership. That's unique to each person. And no heart is like another, right? If that's a unique DNA. When I can tap into that, I know that my clients will be different from anybody else.
Awesome. And so you keep mentioning these last couple of minutes about finding what's unique about you, and sort of what that makes kind of conjured up with me is that something that I've struggled with in the past, and I guess every now and then I still do struggle with it, is comparing myself to other people. I'll look at someone else's business and I'll say, oh, well, they're this age, and maybe, I think back to when I was that age, right? I'd say, well, they've been in business, 3 years. I think back to when I've been in business 3 years, and it's been really tough for me to kind of not compare my insides to their outsides and that kind of stuff. So do you run into that when you coach people and try to fix their confidence problem, or is this a common thing, sort of trying to resist the temptation to compare yourself to others?
So again, great points, Robert. I'm so happy that you're bringing this up, because every single client that I've ever worked with, including myself, I don't want to exclude myself. Sometimes we compare ourselves to others, right? And I found this very early on in my business, and I was comparing myself because nobody was talking about heart-based leadership 3 decades ago. It was a very different form of leadership, and it was really getting me in trouble. And so I created a little ritual that I want to talk to you about that really helped me, is that every night before I go to sleep, I ask myself, Lolly, what did you do well today? And I kind of list in my mind, I did this great, I did this great, this really made an impact, this made a difference. The second part of that is I ask myself, Lolly, what can you do better tomorrow than you did today? And by doing this little ritual, I'm not busy comparing myself to others. I'm not looking over my shoulder about what others are doing. I'm only measuring the yardstick against myself, only becoming better within myself. Because the imposter syndrome loves to tell us what we're really bad at and what we are not worthy or deserving enough. But if you do this little ritual, what I find is that it has almost like the even amount of, like, all the things that you're not good at. If you start thinking about all the things you are good at a nightly basis, it starts to even out the kind of small talk we have about ourselves. And this idea of comparing ourselves to others is just a lose-lose situation unless we're only comparing ourselves to ourselves.
Awesome. And comparing ourselves to our past selves to make sure that we're better. So at the end of that day, you ask yourself, what did you do well today? And then what can you do better tomorrow than you did today? And so am I hearing this right? And that this is like a daily kind of like 5 minutes before bed sort of ritual that you do every single day?
I've been doing it for 27 years.
So how did you get that habit sort of ingrained? Was it tough at first? Did you have some false starts, or was it just you started doing it every night and it just kind of stuck?
So what happened was, when I first started my business, I was talking about a different message than most people were talking about. And there was a tremendous amount of failure when I first started. People were slamming the doors. People, this is not what I want. This is, when I first started, leadership was more about power. It was like, I am in charge. It's my way or the highway. And when you're telling a CEO of a large corporation, you need to love your people, you need to engage with your people, you need to tell them the truth and not withhold information, and you can't pit each other against each other. That kind of leadership was very popular then, and I was talking a whole different language. So in order for me to stay grounded in what I knew was to be true, what I knew that can create greatness within a company and within a leader, I needed to stop thinking about what others were doing and concentrate on what I do well.
Awesome. And so it sounds like that quick ritual of asking those questions and having that sort of that goal and building towards that goal. It seems like just a little bit every day to make sure that you're doing better and staying on course. That adds up hugely over those decades.
You know what it does? It does two things. It keeps me with a discipline because I think discipline gives us freedom, and it keeps me focused. Having focus, target, laser focus really unleashes greatness.
Awesome. And so, since you mentioned discipline and focus, so you have that sort of nighttime routine. Do you have like a morning routine, or do you have some of these just like small daily habits that you keep on using every single day to make sure that you're at your best?
Yes, so I have two morning habits, and one I recommend to everyone, and the other one I don't know if everybody can do it. So I have a habit, a ritual between the hours of 4:30 and 6:30, which I read a book a day, and that I've been doing as long as I've been doing the other ritual, because I find that most people go to the gym to work out their body. I go and work out my mind because I want to bring new information to my clients, new stories to my clients, new system and processes to my clients. And so I read a book a day. And not only in my genre, but I read about philosophy and poetry and biography, anything that can give me something interesting. And I find that it has truly brought me great success in my business. People always say, "Oh, I never heard of that. Lolly, that's so interesting." So that's one ritual. And I don't recommend that everybody read a book a day, but read a book a week can give you the same kind of aspect into your business, can bring greatness and unleash greatness in your business. The second ritual that I do, I recommend this to everyone because it's been a game changer in my business. So before I even pick up the phone, my cell phone, open my computer in the morning, in my mind, I think of all the things I'm grateful for. And I think about little things and big things, and I try to remember things that are happening in my life that are really working and that feel good. Because I find that if I do this ritual in the morning, the rest of my day has a completely different tone. And so between reading, exercising my mind, being grateful, pushing myself to the next level every night, I've got these bookends that I'm always evolving, growing, and learning and changing.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like one heck of a morning routine, and that's the kind of thing where like I kept hearing about it, and I kept on like I would wake up early for like a few weeks at a time, and then kind of not take it seriously. But in the past year or so, I've been really good about waking up before the sun comes up. I do a little bit of reading, but not that much. I do a lot. I walk, and it's like seeing the sun come up, seeing the whole day in front of you, and even like getting a bunch of stuff done even before 10 o'clock in the morning is crazy for me because now it's like, whoa, I just did a whole day's work and I have a whole like a whole other day or maybe even 2 days packed in this one day in front of me, and it's like so much to get done. And so I mean between 4:30 and 6:30, I mean, how do you read a book a day? Are you just like a fast reader or something like that? Because the reason I ask is because as far as like the reading in the morning stuff, like I'll sometimes, if it's a print book, I'll read like 10-20 pages and kind of get bored, or if I'm walking listening to an audiobook, I'll listen to about 10-20 minutes and kind of get bored. So I mean, is there a secret to knocking out a book every single morning?
So if you would have asked me this question 6 weeks ago, I would have said I have no clue. I just read the book. But I know I have a little secret, and I realize this because I'm recording the audio of my book right now, and the director of the book says, Lolly, every of, the, is, and every preposition you just leave out. You're not reading it. You have to read the complete sentence. And so I guess I skip over those little words and I just get the gist of what the sentence is. So that's maybe what's going on. But I've been doing this for a long time. And I think the more you read, the faster you get. And lately I've been trying to memorize some passages. So it takes me a little bit longer, but I can read a 250-page book in 2 hours.
Awesome. So it sounds like just a matter of training your brain to read faster and to have that concentration, and just like if we all do it every day or at some sort of regular basis, then we'll get that sort of brain muscle toned up.
Absolutely. And guess what? You can't have distractions. You can't be reading and checking your email. You can't be reading and looking out the window. I read a book. I read a book. I do gratitude. I do gratitude. I'm not distracted by other things because I want to get it done and I want to do it well.
Awesome, really good mindset there. And so, so you mentioned a little bit earlier that you help clients, and I'm really curious about like some sort of a case study where if someone came to you and they said, "Help, I'm stuck." Like you said, one of your clients was, "I'm stuck. I'm not sure what to do. I don't have good enough confidence, or I'm missing these sort of things, and being like the best leader I can be." And so, can you kind of walk us through like maybe like a client or something that you've had where they came to you, they had these problems, you worked your magic, and they came out even better than before?
So every single person is different, right? And every single person feels stuck because of a different reason. And so my job is to find out what is their gap. My job is to find out what is keeping them stuck. And in order to do that, one of the things that a great coach does is they don't fix their clients. I think anybody that fixes a client usually gets in trouble and you don't have longevity with clients. I can work with my clients for 5 to 10 years. Why? Because I empower them to find the answers from within, right? Lead from within. So someone comes to me, the first thing I do is ask enormous amount of open-ended questions. They give me where they want to go. They tell me why they are stuck. And then what I do is navigate through their business, navigate through their lives, and so they can find what they need from themselves. And then they say, wow, this feels good. I never try to fix my clients and I never try to give them information that doesn't pertain to them. And the thing about this is you can find out within my book, my new book, The Leadership Gap, what are the archetypes that I am? I am the truth teller. I am the navigator. I am the explorer, and I am the hero with my clients. I am courageous. I tell them the truth. I navigate, and I do all the things that I can to bring out and unleash their greatness. So for every client, it is unique.
Awesome. So it sort of sounds like it's a matter of not so much of you kind of ordering them around and telling them what to do, but just kind of asking all those questions and getting their gears turning. Or maybe if they think that they're out of options, or there's only like two decisions for a problem, maybe there's like a third or fourth decision. It kind of sounds like that, just kind of opening their eyes, almost like a therapist, and getting them to kind of think of their own solutions, and you're just giving them the questions.
I navigate, but I know where I want to take them. But the questions are very particular about getting them where they need to go. Meaning, the best leaders know where they want to take their team, right? They know where they want to take their company. They know where they want to take their business, but they don't tell their clients what to do. It's kind of they unfold it and they reveal it in a way through open-ended questions. Where do you think we can go? Why should we do it that way? And then everybody gets thinking in a way that excites them and empowers them. And then I confirm, I go, yes, let's try this. Let's see what happens. I never take them down to the abyss, but I try to lead them in the direction that they need to go.
Awesome. So none of us are broken. None of us need to be fixed. But do you have like some sort of example where someone was just in sort of a bad place when they came to you, and then you asked those right questions or kind of pushed them in the right direction, and then things were way better? Do you have anything like that?
I have hundreds. First of all, if you get my book, you'll read story after story. It's 3 decades of stories, and you actually get to peek into the boardrooms of Fortune 500 companies, and you're surprised. And you're gonna find is, oh my God, that sounds like me. So a little story, very brief. I was called in by a CEO of a very large corporation, and he said to me, Lolly, I'm one of your archetypes. I'm a truth teller. I tell my clients and I tell my team to always tell the truth, always tell the truth. And he said, but I don't know, some of my top people are leaving and I don't have a good relationship with my clients and definitely not with my team. I don't know what's wrong with me. And so I was listening to him and I heard him talking about how great he is, how truthful he is. And then when he stopped talking, I said to him, or I asked him, I said, have you ever told a lie? And he became really quiet. And he goes, yeah, I did. I have. When I was 18 years old, I told a lie. But I made a promise that if I didn't get caught in that lie, I would never tell a lie again. And I said to him, and I explained to him that that little promise that he made to himself when he was 18 years old was costing him in his greatness. Why? Because he was so busy wanting to tell the truth, and everybody had to tell the truth, and he was standing on a soapbox all the time, that people couldn't relate to him, that people couldn't understand what was going on with him. So when I told him to share his story with his team and with his company, he realized that he's been carrying this baggage that was creating distance between everybody. And the moment he told me the story, and the moment he was able to share it with the rest of his team and his organization, people all of a sudden had compassion for him, and they saw that he was vulnerable, and things started to change around in the culture. So it was just asking him that one question that we revealed something that was a big secret that ended up costing him in his business. But now, with the question that we asked, he was realizing that he needed to be a different kind of person.
Awesome, and that's a great story, and I think that we can all relate to that in a bunch of ways of setting these like sort of arbitrary things or picking up this baggage over the years, and then kind of getting stuck in our ways and being sort of stuck on a certain path or stuck with a certain behavior. And look from the outside looking in, it's really easy to correct, but for a lot of us, if we're living that life or we're too close to it, we can't see what little tweak needs to be made or what kind of behavior needs to change. So that's a really awesome story there of you just kind of seeing how things look from the outside and not saying you need to change everything about yourself, but how about you reveal this one little thing about you, and then that will make a lot more sense. So I love that story, and this is clicking more and more with me as you sort of explain that we all have these things holding us back. There's those categories like you mentioned, like the hero or the truth teller or things like that, and we all need to kind of clear out that baggage or have a different way of thinking and get those kind of different results. And so we're starting to run short on time, and you mentioned a few times that you have this book, The Leadership Gap. So can you tell us about that book and where to find it, along with any other websites you want people to check out today?
Absolutely. So the book is now available for pre-order at theleadershipgapbook.com. Get it for yourself and for anybody else that you want to make a difference in their lives. There are great bonuses and great gifts that come with the pre-order of the book. And you can find me every day at lollydaskal.com and on social media. I love to connect with people, so tweet me, retweet me, talk to me on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and all of it is under Lolly Daskal. I don't think there's any other Lolly Daskal out there in the world.
But you never know, right? With the population explosion, maybe someday there'll be Lolly Daskal #2. But if that happens, then everyone will have to make sure to go to the one and only original Lolly Daskal, and to make sure everyone can spell that. That's LOLLYDASKAL. So lollydaskal.com and then theleadershipgapbook.com. So I want to thank you so much, Lolly, for stopping by the show today and sharing some of this cool stuff, giving us some sort of different insights and different breakthroughs on maybe some of us fall into one of these 7 categories and maybe have some of this either bad behavior that maybe we should try new things or just kind of overcome this baggage that we have to get to our greatness and stop holding us back, because it seems like we're like the number one type of person that holds us back. It's like we're our own worst enemy. So thanks so much, Lolly, for stopping by the show and sharing all your expertise with us today.
Thank you so much, Robert. It was a pleasure and a privilege.
Thanks for listening to today's program. Start from the beginning or view past episodes at robertplank.com/episodes.